Morning, everybody.
Morning, morning.
Garrett.
Morning.
There's the energy we're looking for. I love the song choice, by the way.
But I listened to First of the Month by Both Bunks and Harmony in 1994, I don't know, 7,000 times in a row. Love that song.
I love it. All right, we're both happy to be here. Let's get into it. Excited to have this time to chat with you. First question for you. You just published a book, Day Trading Attention, earlier this year. My favorite read of the year for everyone in the audience.
Thank you.
But one of the things you talk about in the book, which we've talked about for a really long time, is this idea of over and underpriced attention. Can you share a little bit about that framework with this group and what it means for marketers and advertisers?
It's a real pleasure to be here. That opening talk really hit me super hard. I'm feeling super emotional. I'm incredibly close to my family and friends, and so I just want to clap it up for that one more time. I really think it matters. And speaking to that energy of that, you know, whether you're trying to achieve something professionally, commercially, or whether you're trying to achieve something that might be a little bit more selfless or something you care about. At the end of the day, the only way something happens is when you are on the receiving end of hearing it or consuming it, and it inspires you to do something, whatever that is. Marketing has always been fascinating to me. As some of you may know, I was born in the Soviet Union, and I moved to the US when I was quite young, but the Cold War was still in effect, and I was incredibly fascinated by weird things like coup d'etats, and why when the army would try to overthrow the dictator or whatever was in place, why they would, at the same time they would go to the palace to capture the guy or the gal, they would go to the newspaper and the radio and the television station to take it over. And I don't know why, but even at an age of 10 years old, I kind of somewhat understood that communication was a much bigger thing than we thought it was in 1985. And I think we're starting to come around to it given how social media has changed the world, and I don't think it's lost on anybody. So many of the social norms are being reset, and the way society works is being reset. In the context of marketing, I believe that most of the brands that are being honored here today spend very good money on bad things. I truly believe that. And I don't say that as a razz or a hot shot or hot dogging. I just think that the Fortune 5000 marketing ecosystem continues to rely on reporting that is outdated, has romance about yesterday, infatuation about tomorrow. So we spend more time thinking about brand positioning and television commercials and the future of AI. So we love yesterday, we love tomorrow, and for some unknown reason, our industry is really shitty at today. And so when I think about underpriced and overpriced attention, I think anything could work. I don't think newspaper ads are per se dead. I think that they're just very expensive based on how people act in 2024. I think television can work. In fact, you know this. I believe the Super Bowl ad is the single best media buy in the world. I think it is grossly underpriced. When you get 140 million Americans to consume a 30-second video for $7 or $8 million, that is insanely challenging, even if you are remarkable at best digital and social and influencer work. The problem, as many of us know, is if the creative's wrong, now you're in real trouble, right? So there's attention, and then what do you do with the attention? And so for me, I've become infatuated because my career was built, and I watched the biggest companies in the world built on over-investing in underpriced attention. In the first 6 years of Google AdWords were uncomfortably underpriced. There's no mistaking that Amazon, being the #1 spender on Google AdWords, by a magnitude of 5x to the #2 spender of eBay in that era, doesn't have a direct correlation to how big Amazon is today. Procter & Gamble is Procter & Gamble today because when we transitioned from a primary radio society to a primary television society, a lot of advertisers held to writing copy for radio because they were romantic about it, and P&G went all in, and their execution in the first 10 years of television outpaced every other consumer brand. the things we're all seeing today are dictated by what we're seeing in social, influencer, and other underpriced behaviors. So when people say like TV is dead, I don't think TV is dead. I think the standard television commercials media cost is grossly overpriced in comparison to if you understood how to do every marketing behavior, direct mail, search, television, social, digital, banners, pre-roll. If you knew everything and you could do it all, why wouldn't you spend your money and your activities on the things that were better priced? And so the thesis of underpriced attention, or the concept of the book I wrote, day trading attention, is what I think is a good deal in marketing or content creation changes constantly. You know, we took a long flight yesterday together. We're talking about virtual influencers. We're talking about live social shopping. Like, this is moving fast. And trust me, I wish I grew up in marketing in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I would have loved drinking a fucking cocktail in the middle of the day, shooting the shit. I'm very good at coming up with slogans. I'm good at that shit. I would have fucking dominated. I would have high-fived the fuck out of Don Draper. But I didn't get that. This is the era I'm in. And so I feel as though the merit of marketing is misunderstood. The separation of media and creative was a really big issue for all of us. It created an ecosystem of fake reports that we all overpay for. It's all corporate shit. You all know it. I'm not smart. I'm just independent.
I couldn't agree more. I'm petrified of virtual influencers, as you showed me yesterday. But
Yes.
We'll see where that goes.
Well, let me tell you where it's going to go.
Please.
There's a stunning chance that your son could marry a non-human being.
He's only 4, man.
But where I'm going here, again, one thing that I don't think we do well is we don't look at all 8 billion people, right? I'm sure this will land with this Canadian crowd. Fucking Americans piss me off. You know, they're so in their own shit. I'm like, you know, there's a world, right? You know, and so when you look at, like, for example, virtual influencers, by show of hands, who here has spent even 5 hours starting to dabble with it? It's okay if you haven't. I'm just curious on the current state of like where this room is, like really spend time researching virtual influencers. These are people, these are AI people that are not real, but on Instagram right now, by the nanosecond are starting to look more and more real. A year ago, you could kind of tell it was a little too Photoshoppy. Right now, I promise you, some of you consumed a human. You thought it was a human, and it's not. How many people have spent more than 5 hours like really digging into it real quick? Okay, so maybe a dozen hands, maybe even less. Meanwhile, in Japan, and again, if anybody here has lived there or has had the luxury of marketing or doing business there, this is pretty advanced. VTubers are a big deal. There are people that are consuming unlimited content of live streaming virtual influencers called VTubers, and it's gone so far that there are many people that are paying to be in relationships with a VTuber. And so when people say like, oh my God, everything's all fucked up now, like all the kids are in social and on the phone, I remind people that the beeper was here just a few minutes ago. The BlackBerry that you all loved so much, that you would never leave because you had to feel the buttons. And so I tell parents, if you're scared about what's happening right now, wait to 25 years from now. This is the mundane. And I tell you, back to history, go Google or AI search articles about the kaleidoscope. When the kaleidoscope was invented, the amount of articles written in Europe that it was gonna ruin the children because they were always like this. Michael, I think fear is unfortunately very effectively being weaponized right now. I think fear is having a good moment, which is really devastating to me. But I challenge everyone here, when you hear a virtual influencer and having a relationship with it, I'm not confused that everyone's like, what the fuck, right? But I challenge you to realize humans continue to evolve, things are different, things change, and if you come from a lens of optimism versus pessimism, or fear, I think it opens you up both in your human spirit and in your marketing and business behaviors. I am firmly in the business of maybe, in a world of people that are just in love with no.
So,
See, the alarm just went off.
are we done? We're done?
That's it. See ya. Thank you for having me.
So you talked about the business of maybe. I want to talk about that a little bit more.
Okay.
One of the things that you say a lot, which I absolutely believe in, is this idea of a yes and culture.
Yes.
And brands and marketers, so many grew up in a world of scarcity.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about what yes and means and what's the importance of both quantity and quality to success in social?
So I think that a lot of the individuals in this room and the companies that they represent, and then the companies that are similar to yours around the world, I think we unfortunately continue to treat social media with a television mindset. That it is that we will sit in a boardroom and come up with ideas and judge every word, and the grid of our Instagram is being treated like a full page ad in Vogue, and we're not letting go of this incredible insecurity known as my subjective opinion. And so when I think about the firepower of this room, I'm desperate to see all of your ideas hit the end consumer. And that to me is not spray and pray and throw against the wall and see what sticks and even test and learn. That is, distribution has changed. Distribution has changed. Where consumers' attention has gone has changed. This is now, without a shadow of a doubt, the primary device of society. It's not even close. I couldn't even comprehend anyone arguing the counter, but people do in marketing industry because we want to hold up books that were written in the 90s, decks that were written in early 2000, Cannes Lion Awards, like silly, dumb shit. And so, yes and to me is, if you're trying to sell Starry or these sneakers or anything that's represented in this room, our number one job is to create consideration from as many different consumer segmentations as humanly possible. Why, if you are trying to sell something, a vision, a story, or a product or business, why wouldn't you want everybody on earth to buy it? So sitting around and thinking one video, one vanilla video, and then matching luggage to support that vanilla video is the right way to do marketing in 2024. You do understand that every basic common sense, somewhat solidly bright person on earth that doesn't live in our industry thinks everything we do is stupid, right? Like animatics, focus groups of 6 customers when we have social media. Like, what are we doing?
We're making campaigns.
Yeah, I mean, we love a good campaign. We're gonna wait. I mean, I feel so bad for creative agencies. All I hear from CMOs is like, blah, 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 they didn't crack it. No shit, they didn't crack it. You're making a subjective opinion, they're pitching you subjective opinions, but I also don't have empathy for it because in 2024, spending 7 months on a brief and an idea and then pitching it is illogical. And so yes and to me is, everyone here has unlimited good ideas of stories that may resonate with many different consumer segmentations, and now we have this blessing, marketing blessing, called social media, where for the first time in the history of marketing, the creative creates the reach. Let me say that nice and slow for the kids in the back, Michael. For the first time in marketing history, the thing we've all wanted as creatives is true. The creative itself creates the reach. Not we make a piece of creative and we spend an ungodly amount of money to force people to watch our shit. This is huge, and until people understand it, they will continue to lose market share.
So that was actually going to be my next question. I want to go even deeper on that because we were talking about that yesterday, and that was a really, really important topic for me. When you say that, when you talk about creative creating the reach, like talk about what that means from the way people consume social media, the way the social media algorithms work, and why you don't always have to have these massive media budgets to tie to a piece of creative to make that impactful for your business.
I'm going to break down a lot of things. That last part, in fact, I think it's crazy in 2025 to spend media on any creative that wasn't validated by the algorithm that consumers wanted. The thought of spending media up front in 2025 only speaks to someone that doesn't realize what's just happened. How many people here feel like they've been close to or deep or in social media marketing for more than 10 years? Raise your hand. Just raise them high if you don't mind. So these people I'm especially excited to talk to because as you all know, and I'm sure everybody else that even hasn't been deep in social media marketing is gonna follow this. Social media, the one that I fell in love with in 2005, 6, 7, 8, social media in the early days, the reason I was so intuitive about it was the way I built my daddy's liquor store was not social media. It was email marketing and Google AdWords. It was direct mail, right? There was a lot of different marketing functions. Social media when it first came out, and for the first decade, 2005 to 2015, was email marketing. Get as many people to follow you as possible, post something, and get a kind of guaranteed amount of people to open, right? What has happened in the TikTokification of all social media platforms over the last 3 years is we don't live in that world anymore. The fact that people in this room, I've been doing this every single day for 17 years, hardcore. And the fact that somebody in this room who's never posted on social in their lives could decide to open a TikTok account today, make their first post, and that video can get more views than my post later this afternoon is a level of creative meritocracy that has never been seen in the world. So I was showing you last night, and I don't have a camera here to make it worth, I'll just tell you what's here. I showed Michael last night to really tell him the extremes of what's going on. I showed him a piece of content on my account, my Instagram account. I have 10.3 million followers. I showed him a piece of content, and it got 19 million views. My most successful video in that platform. I showed him another piece of content and the logic and why I thought it was gonna do as well and great. I was super fired up about it. That was posted 3 days later, and it got 400,000. I don't think as you know, one of the things that I think has really helped me, one of the reasons for all of you, this may make sense to you, one of the reasons I still do Gary V is because I believe being a practitioner is the advantage. I do all of the marketing. V-Friends, my dad's wine text, like being an operator of marketing every day as a CEO is a substantial competitive advantage. So for me, I don't believe that people have realized the extremities of what's happening in organic social and how much can happen. I hope that some of you have already read the headlines of Chili's in the US where 40% of its revenue in Q3 is attributable to one TikTok. The mango gummy craze of people selling it on eBay for a premium off of one TikTok. The Ocean Spray thing, I think everybody knows, and what that did for Fleetwood Mac and Ocean Spray. We have never had the luxury of something so phenomenal. For such a low price, we can change the outcomes of our business, but we must become actual practitioners. I think the industry got it reversed. As you know, and as all of you know, a lot of people took social in-house or fund it very small because they think it's the commodity. It's supposed to support the campaign. I think of it as reverse. I think the campaign is the commodity. This room alone, let alone the world, has many brilliant strategists and creatives that can come up with the tagline and the commercial. To me, that's the commodity. The science around the art to be able to win on Facebook versus Instagram, Instagram versus Snapchat, Snapchat versus TikTok, LinkedIn versus YouTube Shorts. The science, we have over 100 employees internally that work on something called PAC, Platforms and Culture. All they do for a living is understand how the algos work on the 8 platforms that matter, or what's happening in popular culture across all different segments around the world of interest, Korean pop, gaming, slime trends for girls making slime. I mean, why Sabrina Carpenter happened, like all of it. And so I think we're wasting our time on audacious philosophies and academia, and we're not in the trenches.
Couldn't agree more. I wanna push a little bit
Please.
on the idea of behaving as an operator.
Okay.
So you sit across VaynerX at this point, multiple different companies under the umbrella. You could easily just focus on leadership, chairman style role across all of these different entities, but you spend a lot of your time engaging in the day-to-day of all of those businesses and spending time researching to truly actually operate the businesses, number one, how do you think about the balance between acting as an operator and trying to act as a leader across all of those businesses? And number two, how do you think that manifests itself in a competitive advantage against other agencies that might operate in a different way?
Well, look, I mean, the number two is simple, and for anybody that owns an agency here or aspires to, staying independent as long as humanly possible is the competitive advantage. I don't, again, there's a lot of things that have happened in my life where I don't get high on my own supply. I don't think I'm special or good or smart. I think I made a good decision to give me the freedom to do the thing, right? So when I think about our competitive advantage against other agencies, we opened up Canada 18 months ago. Why? When I looked at the landscape in this incredible country, it's mainly holding company owned. And if you're in a holding company owned environment, you're not less good than VaynerMedia, you're not less creative, you're not less smart. You just have to make numbers every 90 days or you're fucking dead. If I had a board or I was part of a holding company this year, this is real talk, this is not hyperbole, I just need you to hear this nice and slow because I'm hoping this brings value to somebody. If I today was publicly traded, even if I was privately held and had a board that had power, or if Vayner was part of a holding company, I would be getting fired at the end of this year. We did not grow enough, and we made a lot less money this year. A lot less. And do you know why I'm happy? Because I invested my fucking face off this year, and I'm gonna fucking kill everybody next year. That does not make me better than the competition. It means I had the luxury to do that. And so I have actually deep empathy and compassion for the agencies that are part of this. I feel bad, I get it. Those MDs, there's a lot of stress, and the industry's changing. Nobody's confused by that. There's a lot going on in our world. So that's how I think about that. The practitionership, yes, you know this. I come in cold into meetings and I know what's going on because I'm living it every day. My team's like, we want to prep you for the meeting. I'm like, I've been prepped. There is no prep. There's no need for prep. I'm not coming in cold. I'm not a banker. I'm in this shit. Yeah, that was a dig. So, you know, to me, that is a very big deal to me. And, you know, as far as the way practitioner operating or leader, chairman, look, I think when you own a business, just like when you're a parent, everything's on you. How do I think about it? That it's my responsibility. And I ebb and flow. And I think, again, for parents or owners in here, or leaders or CEOs, I would ask you to not beat yourself up. You're trying. Like some weeks are gonna be better than others, some years are gonna be better than others, some months are gonna be better than others. Sometimes I feel like I'm the most dominant force in the game, and other days I'm like, man, you're fucking overrated, Gary Vee. But I think that's the life journey. You know, to me, I never get too high, I never get too low. One of the reasons I've been able to be a public figure for so long is when I post something and somebody puts a goat emoji, I don't think I'm the greatest, which protects me from when somebody says I'm a piece of crap, because I don't think I'm a piece of crap. And I worry about what people that actually know me think about me. And I'm enjoying the process. Thank you. It's very nice.
So number one, I think that's right on. And I want to make a little bit of a shift from
Please.
some of the practitioner aspects of social media. I want to talk a little bit about values and perspective.
Yes.
I've had the luxury of meeting people that work across a lot of VaynerX. I've had the luxury of playing basketball with your son, which did not go well for me. But what I've seen consistently, and I'm really impressed by, is the shared values and culture of everyone who's in your orbit. And so how do you think about maintaining a sense of perspective when we're working across everything you're working across? There's so many demands on your time. And then how do you think about the shared values that I see, at least, across everyone that's in the Vayner universe? And like, how do you think about the way that you project that out on a day-to-day basis?
Thank you. Two very simple sentences that I think answer that question. Number one, If you are a leader and you are confused by the following sentence, you have no shot of winning long term. The sentence is, employees and anybody that works for you are actually your boss. The second, as a leader, you understand you work for everyone, not the other way around, is the second that you can actually accomplish something. Humility is the sheer superpower of society. So number one, I think the reason you see what you see, and it's not just, VaynerX has 8 or 10 companies in my advertising home, but then as you know, there's Vayner Sports, there's VFriends, my Pokemon thing, there's the restaurant group, there's a lot going on. And you see it across the board on 2 things. I work for everyone, and number 2, I fire every single person that is not a good human being, regardless of how much money she or he makes for me. There is no quicker way to fuck everything up than to look the other way at someone who's talented and contributing, but is a piece of shit human. Period. And so my success rate is not based on how I hire. My success rate is based on how I promote and how I fire. Hiring, my friends, is guessing. Let there be no, boy, oh boy, was I gifted with intuition and people skills. It's a real blessing. Give all the credit to my parents having sex at the perfect nanosecond. And I have hired atrociously in my 30-year career because I'm too optimistic. There's a little bit of too much charity in the way that I hire. It's just who I am. Hiring is guessing. Promoting and firing is knowing. Hire faster, because you're not gonna figure it out anyway. Fire faster, and promote fastest. One of the big mistakes a lot of us make is when we know we have something great on our hands, we wait a year. We wait 2 years. When I smell or sniff out somebody great, I'm letting them know fast, often with action on title and or dollars. If nothing else, by human interaction of like having a dinner and saying, you fucking got it, I want you here, let's get to know each other. The lack of time that people spend with their people, how could you have a relationship if you don't spend time together? The amount of time that bosses don't spend with people is staggering to me. I spend a shocking amount of time on 15-minute check-ins, 30-minute drinks, human interaction. The level, again, this industry knows this. I have an agency that's 14 years old. We have almost 100 people that have been at the company for 10 plus years. Do you know how fucking insane that is in our industry? That is earned. That is by giving a shit. That is by actually caring and knowing that continuity and culture and family business vibes build an unstoppable force. And so effort is the answer, my friend.
I think that's right on. I want to talk about your other superpower a little bit that we were talking about yesterday, timing. So again, you've launched multiple different companies. You've leaned into platforms when the industry wasn't ready for it. How do you think about, and how should everyone in this audience think about figuring out when is the right time to make a change? When is the right time to make a shift? When is the right time to take a shot on something that might not be common knowledge or an expected play at a given point in time?
Ironically, we've talked about both of the answers to this question. Number one, when you have humility and don't think you know anything and think the customer is always right at scale, it's the easiest thing to do all time. 6 years ago when I was yelling about TikTok, and now I get a lot of flowers for that, that wasn't a genius, that already happened. When people give me a lot of I'll do a podcast, like, Gary, you see around corners, you're Nostradamus, you're this. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just paying attention, right? Like Saturn, let's do a real one right now. In the US, Saturn app. What is Saturn app? Most people don't know it, definitely not in Canada. It's a US thing that's really happening. It's a calendar app for high school kids. In the US, they did a very weird, 80% of high schools have this very weird model where you're on a 5-day cycle. I don't know if they have it in Canada too. Like, it's not like Monday, Tuesday, like Tuesday could be day 3. Like, it's confusing. So they built an app to make it easier for high school kids that looks like a Google calendar and has now penetrated 80% of high schools in America. 80% of 14 to 18-year-olds are on an app. Then they miraculously add chat on top of the calendar. Go fucking figure, smart fucking move. There's 80% of high school kids 14 to 18 right now as I sit here in Banff on this app. When I start talking about it in this exact meta moment, and in 3 years when it becomes the first thing since Snapchat and TikTok to actually be a thing, it wasn't that I saw around corners, it's that I'm paying attention every day and it's already happened. You just don't know about it. Meaning, people at my level are living in penthouses, not playing in the dirt, Michael. I'm in the fucking dirt, Michael.
Can I go to the penthouse?
You can. You so can, brother, because what I believe is the penthouse sounds nice. But if you love the fucking game, the penthouse is boring. So, you know, what's my timing about? It's about humility and listening. Like, I'm just paying attention to what consumers do all the time. Live social shopping, like Whatnot, is crushing. TikTok Shop is crushing. It's not like, of course, live social shopping is going to be the buzzword next year. It's happened. I'm not guessing. I've been watching it I've been watching Whatnot for 4 years. Timing is about watching everything, knowing when things are premature, and then getting loud when they're ready. When everybody was like, we need to build metaverses. When, you know, obviously I'm very bullish on NFTs and blockchain stuff, but all my clients are like, we need to build a metaverse. We have this pitch. We need to build like a store in the metaverse for $1 million. I'm like, there's 14 fucking people in the metaverse. But do I think I'm gonna build a virtual store in my career? You're damn right, I think. I just don't know when. So you watch, and then when you see there's enough tipping point, that there's enough scale that companies of this size would actually give a crap, you go. And so timing has been about paying attention. I don't guess. I'm not a futurist. I don't love technology. Here's an interesting one. I don't give a shit about social media. Fuck. Could care less. Cannot wait to make videos in 7 or 8 years saying, you marketers are doing social media, what the fuck's wrong with you? I care about the truth of the data. I don't like GRPs. They're fake as fuck. We are obsessed in our industry on potential reach, not actualized reach. We love reach. I love reach. I want to reach 8 billion people. I wish this talk right now was reaching all 8 billion people on Earth. I like reach. I like real reach. We buy fake reach. Yes. Thank you, man. We have to get out of this cycle. There's and by the way, I say this to my agency friends because I don't think about competition. Like, I cheer for other agencies. I like when they win. I even like when they beat us in things. No, if you are good, and this is, kid, how old are you? 11, perfect. Let me tell you something that I hope you remember your whole life. If you're good enough, nobody's taking anything away from you. The reason I cheer for other agencies is because if they were good enough to get the win, they deserved it. They won on merit. Nobody's taking out of my pocket. What I'm saying about potential reach and commercials and all this, I'm trying to help agencies because I view them as like, we're part of the same collective team. I know we compete, but I don't see it that way. What I do see is, if we continue to suck, everything's gonna go in-house. So like, what are we doing here? We need to bring value. I know a lot of you sell shit you don't believe in, and that breaks my heart. I don't judge you. You have mortgages, you have families, shit changed. I don't judge, no judgment, but I know it's true. I know that if that money was your family business's money, you wouldn't spend it that way to make the business grow. I have the luxury of living that life. I want it for more people. And so, that's just how I see it, Mike.
Yeah. So I want to actually dig into that a little bit more. You are independent. You've built an incredibly successful enterprise that allows you to make a phone call and say, Saturn, go, and the team goes. This
is gonna really make the owners laugh. I'd be basically think that a lot of people now listen to my content and advice, competitors even. I get emails all the time like, thanks, Gary, we beat you on this pitch by listening to this video. I'm like, motherfucker, you know. I would argue as I sit here today with all the lovely things that have happened to me, the crew that's least listening to me is my own fucking company, Mike. It's just like, you know, it's like parents, right? Like you just know, like the answer is ish. Like my company's very good. It's like anything else you take for granted. All of you right now are taking for granted your best relationship. When I think about my parents, my mom is such a fucking angel and the greatest woman on earth, and my dad is not as much, but he's fucking epic. I love my pops. But lately I'm like, fuck, I'm playing this wrong. I'm giving so much energy to my dad's emotional needs, and I'm taking my mom for granted. I'm on the receiving end of getting taken for granted because of how I roll. And I think we take a lot of things for granted, and I promise you my company does that right to my fucking face, and it makes me laugh. But anyway, go ahead.
I do think there are probably a lot of moms in this audience that feel taken for granted.
100%.
So the question I was going to ask is, if you're sitting in a role in an organization
Yes.
where you can't dictate transformation,
Yes.
Or you're sitting in a senior role, but it's a larger organization where it's harder to dictate transformation, what advice would you give for how to really drive that innovation, drive that point of view towards taking chances that you might not be able to otherwise?
By respectfully communicating your actual point of view instead of conforming to what you think everyone wants to hear. And I'm saying that for a very specific reason. I'm doing that for you personally in the seats right now because your career will advance based on your historical correctness or incorrectness. There are many people right now saying things or agreeing to things in boardrooms that they know are not right, and unfortunately, they're doing it because they think that's what will work currently in the business. And meanwhile, as the business gets challenged by doing the wrong things, you're gonna be the fall guy and fall gal for it. Let me tell you something very real, because I've lived this life a lot. It is much more fun to die on your own sword than to die on someone else's. My friends, there's a lot of marketing transformation going on, you know it. You may know that your company can't change it. You may know your CEO's best friends with the agency holding company guy or gal, and they're gonna run TV anyway, or programmatic digital, whatever it is. But mentioning it in the room, what about? Like, how about this brand that only lives on TikTok that's taken up a ton of our market share? How about that? Like, talking truth. People are listening, and it will set you up. Please don't keep your mouth shut when you have a true belief. Don't speak out of your ass. Don't talk about things you don't know. But if you know, the answer is to respectfully communicate it. And then if nothing happens and you want to be part of transformation, I have tremendous news. I was born in the Soviet Union. You were not. Or maybe some of you were, but you're not here right now. I'm not either. Good news. If you don't like how the company's rolling, quit. Be accountable. You're unhappy that nobody listens to you? Go find some place that will. Or know that you're being there for another 3 years because you're paying off something or something's important, and shut your fucking mouth. Complaining is for losers.
Complaining is for losers.
Complaining is for losers. If you're a complainer, that's okay. DNA, parenting, luck of the draw. If you're a complainer, I just have a fun game for you to play the next couple weeks. Pay very close attention to who listens to your complaining. It's only gonna be two groups of people. The people that love you so much, they're like, fuck it, I'll listen. Or other fucking losing, complaining humans. Audit your fucking circles, friends. Audit your circle.
I agree. And I have proof because my mom's the only one who listens to my. So I know we're close to on time. One thing I do want to make sure we talk about is one of the things that I love about you, love about working with you, is your passion. And you've talked about it. We talked about it at dinner last night. One of the things that you said was most important for your children is following their passion.
Yeah.
For everyone in this audience, as they think about what they're working on, what they're doing from a career perspective, from a life perspective, like any advice on how to truly follow your passion?
You know, this, I think I'm being triggered by the incredible speech that opened this right now. I'm surprised how emotional I just got with this question. Michael and I were talking about, like, I came from zero. I grew up in a studio apartment, a fourth of the size of this stage, with 6 other family members. And we were talking about, like, making it and having children that are, like I said to Michael, like, I was 16 before I ever went to a New York Knicks game and we sat in the last row. My fucking little guy's sitting courtside and, like, dapping up with fucking LeBron. And I said, you can't fake environment. You're not gonna get kids that are fortunate to have the same level. You just can't. You can't fake environment. But what you can focus on is being a good human being. And there are many controllable things. Who you are born into is not thing we could control. And so passion's important to me. And the reason it's important to me is the following. I don't know if you know this, but you were not born for a very long time. Like, the world's been around for a minute. I also don't know if you are aware of this, but when you die, you're fucking dead. So we're like here, all of us right now. This is it. And it's long and it's short. And no matter how much work-life balance you are aspiring for right now, I think we can all agree, work takes up a lot of time in your life. You subtract sleeping, and it gets really weird how many hours are in it. The thought of not being accountable enough to realize that if you are miserable at it, if you are sitting here right now, and let's go 1 to 10, and I do live 11. I do, and it's the great blessing of my life. Those bullshit motivational quotes of, like, if you love it, it's real. Like, I'd rather go to work. If you knew how excited I was to get out of here right now and fly for the next 6 hours and do work email, it would probably make you feel sad for me, but I'm fucking pumped. I like it. I would literally, actually, it's fun to say right here, it's usually my go-to on this, but this is perfect. I would literally rather have a business meeting than go fucking skiing. Yeah, sorry, motherfuckers, I don't like skiing. Like, I don't like it. But I'd rather watch a New York Jets game than work, which is why I do it. Like, I just want you to like it a little more because I think you'll regret it. Here is an incredible blessing that I recommend everyone. Donating your time is one of the great things a human being can do. It will fill your fucking soul in a way that would stun you. And most of us don't do it, because especially a room that's this incredible, a lot of work. What you got left is you're trying to do family, I get it. If you can donate 5 hours to a retirement home, 5, and you have conversations with people in their 80s and 90s who are not your grandparents, I believe it could have a substantial impact on your life. What you will see up close and personal is the scariest thing on earth, Michael. Regret. The scariest thing on earth is regret. Regret when you don't have a lot of time left is quadruple scary. I believe that you would be doing a mitzvah and a great gift by contributing. I promise you the people in that home would be so happy to talk to somebody. You will be doing such a nice gesture, but it will not be selfless, my friends. It will be selfish, because you will walk out of there, and I believe that will be the drug or the infusion for you to really consider what seems like a tough decision. And you know what sucks, Michael? The tough decision of quitting a job you hate because it pays you more can often be offset by people spending less money on dumb shit. Like, maybe, if you're really that unhappy, I'm not talking if you're in this crowd right now in the middle, you're like, I'm chill, that's fine. Obviously, if you're not good or great, of course, but if you're deeply unhappy, taking $50,000 less, $30,000 less, only has to be offset by silly things we all do. Like buying $7 coffees twice a day. Like, so many people are signed up to 6 streaming services but only watch 2, but are getting banged on for the monthly fee. There's a lot of things we do that don't matter. But waking up every day and hating your job, that fucking matters. And so I ask you to start strategizing how to fix it, because you will regret it. And I say, again, I'm sorry, I don't mean rah, 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 go quit. I get it. You have a real life. I say starting the process, I'll give you an example, action. You can start posting on LinkedIn and making videos about your thoughts on the macro market. What if someone that is important in hiring sees that and DMs you and says, are you looking for a job? You can take action that gives you leverage to create an outcome you want. That is the great gift of this. In 1979, our parents couldn't do that. You can literally go home and make a video every single day, every single week about thoughts you see in your profession, of your social commentating on it, and if it's good and smart, it will lead to opportunities that let you get out of what you're in. Please do not just accept that it's the way that it is. That is not true.
Couldn't be better said. Although, and I know the NFL is here, I'd rather do anything than watch the news. Anything.
Brother, I'm starting to get there, man. 42 years of this fucking misery. Even for the most fucking optimistic fucker on earth, I'm starting to fucking bend, Michael. It's rough out here for us. Man.
The Giants will take you. Yeah, we'll take you.
I'm sad, man.
But hey, guys, thank you so much. Gary, thank you so
Thank
much.
you, everybody.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I wish you well. Thank you. Thank you. It's very sweet. Thank you. Yeah, man. Happy to do it.
Thank you, Gary Vaynerchuk. Michael, thank you for that incredible, inspiring conversation. I have a quick housekeeping note. If you're a Pinnacle Pass member, please head stage left to our backstage lounge. We have so much more coming up today. This is just the start, and our next session kicks off at 10:45. You can expect to hear from Levi's Tracy Panic at the Plus Co Theater, Matt Cowling from Paramount. Labeled Creators Studio Stage is where you can hear from Cameron Wagner with Elevate. If you have not grabbed your coffee, please head out to the Plus Co Lounge. That is your opportunity to take a quick break. I'll be right back here at 10:45 on the WestJet stage. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Please exit the room.
Get her out of my mind. I think about the girl all the time. East side to the west side, with the fast ride, it's no try. She got chicks in the stash, stacking up the cash. That's when it comes to gas. By no means average, it's on when she's got to have it. Baby, you're a perfect 10. I wanna get in, can I get down so I can? I like the way you work it.